When the convoy drove in, almost unannounced on Friday morning, it was quite obvious that a top government functionary was in court. It turned out to be Speaker Aminu Tambuwal and several members of the House of Representatives without security details. But he had his lawyers with him as he walked up the stairways into the Federal High Court building. The court papers were filed and all relevant documents signed. Speaker Tambuwal is challenging the powers of the police to withdraw his orderlies, and he added PDP, INEC and the Attorney General as co-defendants. He declined comment after the suit was filed, but his media aide provided a clear insight into the visit.
I mean, he's still the Speaker of Nigerian Parliament, and for us, we're talking about the institution, and anything that will impede the performance of an arm of government, definitely we must look at it with a lot of concern. And the era of, we're not running a banana republic. It's Nigeria. This country belongs to all of us. There are spelled out rules by which you can carry out any activity. And of course, he's still the Speaker of Nigerian Parliament. We don't have any other speaker. And for us as an institution, we're looking at it quite with a lot of sadness, because there are three arms of government, you know, and no one affects the other. If the police want to take the issue of interpretation in their hands, then that's very unfortunate, because the police is supposed to protect every citizen of this country, not even the Speaker.
The spokesman of the House of Representatives, for his part, argued that there is more to the police action than meets the eye.
Well, that's why we are here. We felt, number one, the IG of police, first of all, the police is not empowered by law to interpret the Constitution. What the Constitution says, we believe the police quoted it out of context. And we feel that the right place to interpret the Constitution properly is the court. That's why we are here today.
Opposition members of the House say only the courts could determine the fate of the Speaker after his defection. The lawmakers also cited similar examples of carpet crossing in recent times and wonder why the police were keen on what they describe as selective action.
There are several examples. Apart from even that, the governor of Abia moved from PPA to ABGA and then to PDP. The problem is selective judgment. Where there is, it favors a particular political party, the rules are different. Where it affects others, the rules are different. I think we need to depart from that as much as possible. We need to depart from that and at least not do selective implementation or selective execution. And of course, it's been the stock in trade since the administration came.
The Speaker is a law-abiding citizen of this country. Nobody can doubt the fact that he understands the law, he understands the Constitution of this country, and is a veteran parliamentarian who knows what he's doing. Of course, the PDP is panicking because the Speaker has decided to seek a better future, on a platform that he believes in. He has the right of association under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And now for the police to come up to say Section 68, subsection 1G, is enough ground for them to withdraw the security aids of the number 4 citizen of this country. It's marked of gross intolerance and lack of understanding of, first and foremost, the job of the police force.
A date has not been fixed for the hearing of the suit, but it is certain that the nation is on the verge of a historic court battle that will be cited as precedents in the coming years.
Well, there you have it there, and of course the security and all the aide-de-camp has been withdrawn from Tambuwal, and now he's fighting back. Well, of course, Barrister Kola Wole is still in the house, a legal practitioner, and we're going to be talking this at on a serious note now. Looking at this, Barrister, what do you make of all of this development?
Well, I see high voltage politics have been played. I also see a lot of intolerance on the part of the PDP, on the part of the federal government, and lack of, should I describe it as caution on the part of Tambuwal, because to whom much is given, much is also desired. If politicians would demonstrate or exhibit tolerance in their actions, in their utterances, and the mode of dealings with the other political parties and all that, I am sure the society will be better for it. Like I also said, taking issues that ordinarily should be resolved politically to court does not augur well for all of us as a nation. It has a tendency to pollute the court. It has a tendency to politicize it. It has a tendency to give the judiciary, especially the judges who sit over most of these cases, very, very bad names in the eyes of the public. Because at the end of the day, no matter which way this decision is, the matter is decided, there are lots of people who are followers of the APC as a political party. Lots of people are also followers of a PDP as a political party. The interpretation that these two divides will give to whatever decision a court takes will not depend on their political beliefs and political connotations or their political followership, which for me is not a good thing to do, or it's not good for this country.
How do you think this can be resolved politically? Because you said some issues can be resolved politically and some can be resolved in the court of law. But in this case, how do you think it can be resolved
very, very
now
simple.
that he's in the opposition?
Very, very simple, very, very simple, if you would ask me. All that the PDP as a political party required to do is to commend this action against Tambuwal, the Speaker of House of Reps. And then the first point of departure will be to issue him a query on so day, on so paper. So we saw that you have decamped to APC, whereas you go to the House of a rep on the platform of PDP as a political party. Can you please let us have your explanations as regards the action that you are taking? And when he has replied, the party will take a decision. If the party does not agree with the defense that is put up, then you mobilize your membership in the House of Reps to commence impeachment proceedings against the Speaker. And if they're able to muster the two-thirds majority, then that be the end of it. After all, they have done similar thing in Adamawa when the former governor of Adamawa was said to be rude to Mr. President. They found a way around, even though they never even had dominant majority in Adamawa State. And then they impeached them and also impeached the deputy governor alongside, until that one went to court to reverse his own his so-called resignation. So these are the approaches to give to it. There's also what we call peer review mechanism, which I strongly believe in. Look at the American system, for example. And I'll give you the case of one American parliamentarian who was in the House of Reps. When the former President Clinton had this problem with Lewinsky over this sexual scandal, that House of Reps member in the U.S. was one of the most acerbic, one of the most acidic critic of Clinton. He, in fact, bluntly accused Clinton of desecrating the presidency of the United States of America. And then he moved for the impeachment of the president. And I do remember, I think the impeachment of the president scaled through in the House of Reps in the U.S., but never scaled through in the Senate. So, not long ago, this same man, had a girlfriend, and then he took the picture of his own private part and started emailing it to the girlfriend, but the girlfriend, whoever may be in charge, leaked the photograph to the media. And then the media and the whole of America said, you at one time accused President Bill Clinton of desecrating the office of the president. See what you are also doing. And an undergraduate in the university and other, you are taking pictures of a private part and then saying you are also polluting the society. And then his members, the members of the House of Reps in there, ostracized him and began to put pressure on him. And on his own, he had to resign. All right. So here, we could also put pressure on Tambuwal to say, look, what you have done is immoral, even though it may be legally defensible in court of law. But we won't allow you to continue in there. It could be that certain members of the House say, look, so long as Tambuwal comes there and say we want to preside, we're going to start boycotting the sittings of the House. Or we are going to commence impeachment proceedings against it. And then the matter will be resolved politically. And every other person in the system will learn its process. But rushing to court to buy time, it's not too good for us as a nation. Okay, but I'm even wondering, even if there is possibility, just like you cited, if there is possibility of issuing a query, but now that it's in the opposition party, will that query still stand? Will it still hold? Of course it would. Of course, I give you an example. If, God forbid, if I work with your organization here, and then I find another job somewhere, and then I said I have resigned, and then, or I embezzle money, and then I, knowing that two people have started an investigation, I quickly put in my letter of resignation, and then got another job somewhere else, another. Of course, you could still take disciplinary action against me, administrative action against me, not minding that I've resigned my appointment here and gone to another place to work. These are what we call the due process. A man, you must hear from the man before you begin to punish him. And that is the standard practice all over the world. And if you rush to court without taking some of this initial steps, what is that? Putting people on notice. For example, you don't go to court without putting somebody on notice. I have these issues with you. Can you let me have your explanation? If you don't give me a satisfactory explanation, then I will take you to court. That is the point of departure. That is the way I think the PDP should have gone about this.
But with the majority in the House, because you also cited what other thing that could have happened in resolving this politically is an impeachment, you know, mobilizing the foot order of the majority. But as it is now, the margin in between the opposition lawmakers and the PDP lawmakers is just very thin. Do you think there's any possibility of that happening?
It is very, very remote. And I think that is the advantage Mr. Tambuwal has taken, because you'll find out the House is deeply polarized. A lot of members who were formerly in the PDP have also come to the APC. You also have some people, although say as assembly member, although people who are in that August assembly have also come from Labour Party to the PDP. So it wouldn't appear to me that they would have the kind of two-third majority that they really require to be able to muster that through. But that now strengthens Mr. Tambuwal's case, because when Tambuwal goes to court today, what he's going to argue is that Section 68 that the Inspector General of Police is quoted also says that a member can decamp from one political party to the other if there is division within the political party that brought him to power, and the court will find for him. So these are the challenges. It doesn't mean because you might not succeed in getting him impeached in the House of Assembly, I mean the National Assembly, in the House of Reps, then that be the end of the matter. I have said this times without number that the peer review mechanism, the pressure, we could put a moral burden on him to make him very, very uncomfortable in that place. And that is the way it should be. And then we will also learn from history from some of these things. This is not the only democracies in the world. All over the world, people tend to abuse their power. People don't want to live off it because it's so lucrative, it's so juicy. It's like being shadowed with pot of honey all over the place and all that. So, but we must exercise restraint. The due process of the law is very torturous, it's very painful. Sometimes it may not even favor those who are supposed to be in the right. But history is there to document all the actions of individuals and institutions in the entire process.
Okay, let's go back again. Looking at the position of the Constitution on which a lawmaker can defect from one party to another. Now, in this case, do you think this defection is not justified?
Where morally speaking, the defection may not be defensible. It is difficult to defend.
How do you mean?
Because what I mean is this: when you have attained the level which Tambuwal has attained, that is about the number 4 citizens in the land, you are supposed to show good example. These are people who call role models in the society. And it is the signals, your body language, and your utterances, and your actions that will reflect on what the perception that the entire Nigerian people gives to you as an individual, gives to the House of Representatives, and also even gives to the average Nigerian politician, people who don't have morals, who don't have ethics, who are just governed by their personal ambition. So morally, it's indefensible. When you look at the Constitution says, look, there's freedom of association. If a man feels displeased with what is happening in this association, he has the right under the law to move to another association. But that right is also has its own caveat, so to say, or there are responsibilities that goes with it. And one of the responsibilities is that...
Barrister, let's quickly pick up this call. Hello, Stephen.
Tambuwal has been a criminal in the PDP then.
Hello? Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can go ahead, Stephen.
Yes, Tambuwal has been a criminal in the PDP then. And unfortunately, the PDP did not realize it.
I would have preferred using a friendly word.
To have withdrawn his aid.
Okay.
They should have called him and then seek explanation as to why he has decided to betray the party. As a prominent member of the party, as a stakeholder in the party, and as even an office holder of the Speaker of the House of Reps. His action is dangerous because he can cause problems in the National Assembly. And it's not proper for him to have to go. But what we are saying is that the federal government should have sought his explanation as to why he has gone. before they can withdraw his security aids. So that's
okay, thank you very much, Stevie.
Has been a criminal in the den long ago.
Hello? Thank you very much, Stephen, for making your contribution there. Well, of course, I wish you could play down a little bit on that harsh word,
language.
Just please, when you call, please make sure that you use a very courteous word. We'll appreciate that. Thank you, however, for calling Stephen from Jos. Do you agree with him that he could have explained, maybe because it's like what we're used to in this part of the world is that if you want to apply your political career on any political platform, you can do that at will. Is there any need for explanation to the House of Representatives before he could take, such a decision?
Well, there is a need in the sense that, like I had earlier on explained, if you are going to punish a person, you don't just punish him. Okay. You must, one way or the other, seek some explanations from him. You want to know why he has taken the action he took. This is what we call the process of fair hearing, because in common parlance, you say you don't shave a man's head behind his back when he's not in your presence. So the first point of departure is to say, look, Mr. Tambuwal, you have done this. We require some explanations from you. And then the judicial procedures will begin from there. I think the PDP ought to have done that. That's the standard practice all over the world.
Okay, if the position of the Constitution that you cited earlier, and you said it wasn't morally justified, but he did that based on Constitution. Do you think that is not acceptable in this case?
Hello, Nura.
It is not acceptable because, like I said, the Constitution is a very complex document. Okay. When it gives a right...
So how do we interpret this in this case? How do we interpret it? Let's even look at it. Looking at the interpretation of it.
Morally speaking, I would say it is wrong for Tambuwal to have done what he has done. But constitutionally, I think Tambuwal is on a very, very good footing.
Okay, let's quickly pick up this call. Hello, Nura. Nura, good morning. Go ahead with your contribution. Hello, Nura.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, good morning. Go ahead with your contribution.
I think what I was... action of PDP is unprofessional. And PDP ruling party are not behaving as democratic party, but they are behaving as autocratic party. Because what they are doing for removing, what they are doing is undemocratic. Because Tambuwal has the right to defect from PDP to APC. I see nothing wrong in it. But why should they withdraw the aid of number 4 man in Nigeria? It's not professional. They should find ways to impeach him if they can. But the problem they're facing is that they realize that they cannot have 2/3 to impeach him from the speaker, and that's why they're heading this way.
All right, thank you, Nura, for making your contribution there. I'm sure you were about landing. Do you have anything to say about that?
Well,
or you want to continue with the line of discussion?
Even though if you don't have the 2/3 majority to really be able to impeach him, there is still nothing wrong, for you to begin the process, because in politics, 24 hours could be a very, very long time. You never know what variables will come in into the process. I never, for example, imagined that it would be that easy to have impeached the former governor of Adamawa State the way it went. But lo and behold, the PDP was able to wangle that through. It's not impossible for them to also be able to do that in the House of Representatives, given the nature of the people that we have in those places. These are not people who rigidly cling to any principle. These are not people who may believe in Tambuwal as an individual and all that. These are also people, for one reason or the other, when the chiefs are done, may not want to stand up for Tambuwal at the end of the day.
Okay, let's look at it. If the defection of Tambuwal is not morally justified, but is constitutionally justified, but would it be appropriate to have withdrawn the security aids of number 4 citizens?
No, it is absolutely wrong. It is
because
absolutely
even
wrong.
the police are saying that according to Section 68(1) subsection 1G, that they have to...
You have asked us not to use very intemperate language, but I'm sorry. I will want to say that is very, very stupid for the police to have said, in the sense that you heard what Imam was saying in that your clip in there. It is not for the police to begin to interpret the constitution. They are supposed to provide security, even like the Imam said. You don't even have to be the #1 citizen before securities are provided for, if it is required for your safety. So it is absolutely wrong for the police to have taken the action they have taken. But it's not impossible that they are acting on the instruction of the presidency. The presidency has always shown itself to be very, very intolerant of people who are opposed to their political view.
Let's quickly pick up this call. Hello, Matthew. Hello, Matthew.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, good morning. Go ahead with your contribution.
Hello.
Hello, good morning, Matthew.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
What? Hello, good morning. Are you hearing me?
Matthew, we can hear you clearly. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, I salute you for this program. I give you kudos. But the problem we are having in this country is that PDP up to now, they fail to realize their mistakes. Honestly speaking, even though the four number citizens of this country are defected to another party, they should not withdraw the security help. The security help is the most important thing. That if anything affects this man now, they will be held responsible. He has right to go back to. In fact, I am a Christian, by the way, and I'm supposed to say the truth of the whole matter. If anything happens in this country, the PDP will just go ahead to do whatever they want to like. Nobody has right. We are in free world. This is democracy. We are practicing democracy. Please, my contribution to the federal government is that they should stop all these dictatorships. Because this is not going well. We are agitating for peace. We are advancing. We are now the election is at corner. See what happened in Gombe. Are dying. They should consider all these things instead of talking of withdrawal of security. This is not the right time now that we should talk of withdrawal of security. Let's talk how to curtail this insurgency in this country.
We have to
Most
let you go now.
Most of my family have died. They killed my family.
Hello, Matthew. We have to let you go now. Well, thank you very much for calling and making your contribution. I think he has made his points there. Yeah. But let's quickly look at this issue before we round it up. He's headed to court now. He's in court. He has sued the federal government, the IG, and, of course, other people. Do you think he will win at this battle? Though you have said it's about whiling away time.
That's what I strongly think. But I also, looking at the laws and looking at precedent, what has happened in the past, the chances are that Tambuwal is likely to win this case. Why do I say this? The Constitution section 68 that the police are quoting says, like, if there's a division within your political party that brought you to power, you can as well join some other political party and other. And you and I do know that the PDP is not as cohesive as it used to be. You have the division in the Governors Forum. You have Tambuwal's home state where he came from. It used to be a PDP state. The governor and most of the people in that area have now moved to APC. He could cite that as president, and the people in my constituency say, look, they no longer want me in a PDP. And also, too, you and I do know some of these other divisions that you even have in the House of Rep and in the Senate. A lot of House of Rep members have crossed over from PDP to APC, from Labour Party to PDP as well. So with all these divisions here and there, I should think that the court is likely to decide or agree with Mr. Tambuwal that there is sufficient division in the PDP as a political party to warrant him from leaving PDP to APC.
So finally, what do you see playing out?
Well, yeah, I see the whole thing as just a storm in a teacup. A storm in a teacup in the sense that with both parties now before the court, the status quo is likely to be maintained. And like I said, if the case has to travel all the way from the Federal High Court to the Court of Appeal and to the Supreme Court and other, it is most unlikely that it will be disposed of before the next swearing ceremony of the next people politician in the House of Rep. More importantly, too, I want to plead with the presidency to show a lot more tolerance. Everybody don't have to agree with you. When people disagree with you, you should develop a thick skin. That is what politics is all about. Politics is all about persuasion, trying to win somebody from his own point of view to your own point of view. And I begin to say, example, look at the intolerant manner in which the Rotimi Amechi's case was handled. They impounded his jet. He traveled to Ondo State in there for a meeting in Ekiti State and all that. As soon as he got there, even when the speaker Tambuwal was also on that flight, I think, you granted the jet and all that, and the jet is maybe still rotting away in that place. You should also look at the way the presidency handled the Trimisiva case, the former governor of Bayelsa, simply because he wasn't the good book of Mr. President. He didn't have the opportunity to do a second term. You also look at the way the Adamawa case was handled, simply because the former governor, wrote a critical letter against Mr. President and all that. Overnight, his impeachment was engineered, and the man was shown the way. I think this is not the way to begin to play politics. When you are the president, you must have developed a very, very thick skin. And then you must be tolerant, because your political enemy today may be your best political friends tomorrow. But the presidency does not seem to have thick skins at all. When he becomes very highly intolerant when it comes to his political opponent. And I want to say this. The presidency, I have heard them say that the president is the most criticized president. That is not true. If you see the way and manner the American people criticize their own president, you will be amazed the kind of thing that they say about the president. Okay. And yet you don't see the president, the president in the U.S. begin to ride roughshod over other politicians in that society.
All right. Thank you very much, Barrister Tunde Kolawole, for coming on the show this morning. Well,
it's a pleasure being here.
He's a legal practitioner and he's been fantastic on the show. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we'll take a break now. When we come back on the show, Core Digest, we will be looking at abducted girls over 200 days in captivity, and nothing has been done about it. Or is that a question? Or what exactly is the government doing about it for their release? We'll be back after this time out. Join us again.
Has it been a difficult task for you to purchase exquisite, classic, durable and sturdy furniture that will last the test of time? Here is good news for you. Purchase high-quality furniture for your household, offices, hotels and schools at Prince Interior Furnishing and Furniture Company Limited. Office address, Goshen Plaza, Showroom 28, Kubo Furniture Market, AYA, Nyanya Road, Abuja. Telephone 0803 119 1444 or 09291 7482. Email princeemeka240@yahoo.com. info@princeinterior.com. Website www.princeinterior.com. Purchase your furniture at Prince Interior Furnishing and Furniture Company Limited. Classic, strong, exquisite.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emotan of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on Core TV News.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.